Hi guys, what's going on and welcome back to my channel. So as you can probably see, it's a pretty gloomy ass day outside, but I'm actually having the best week ever so far. Today is Tuesday. I had a really eventful weekend. If you watched my last video, then you would know that I actually did my first ever sort of public speaking event this weekend at Raw Gym in Dublin. So for anyone that doesn't know, it was with Rob Lipset. It was a charity event, so there was no profits made from it. We donated a lot of old gym clothes and just regular clothes, and all the proceeds went to Pieta House, a mental health charity. And then that night I babysat my nephews, so I feel like I made up for all the sins I committed in Vegas this weekend because I was like an absolute saint. But I know last time I was talking to you, I was telling you how nervous I was about this event and that I was excited but also really scared to speak in front of people. But update, it went really well. I was actually so surprised at how relaxed I came across when I looked back on some of the clips, because at the time I was pretty nervous, but as soon as we got into it, I actually really enjoyed it, and it sort of motivated me now to start doing things like that myself. Because when I think of it now, meetups and like getting to see people in person and just being at social outings and events is like my favorite thing ever. But I never would have had the courage to like run one myself, whereas I'm actually really considering it now. I think that might be a new thing that I could possibly do in the future, run my own event and speak at it, because I finally overcome my fear of it and it went so well. I really enjoyed it. I actually didn't vlog on the day. It was a really big rush for myself and Gary because I had to drive to and from Dublin in one day, and that's like nearly 3 hours each way. So I actually forgot to bring my camera, but I'm going to get on to Rob and Glenn and the videographers that were there on the day and see if I can muster any clips together just to show you an example of how it went. I remember I did answer one question about YouTube, so if I find that, I'm going to insert it after this clip for you just to give you an idea of how it went.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Even like when I started YouTube, I was at your stage where I was like, should I just start? Like I was really hesitant because I'm not very outgoing like when it comes to speaking on camera. But with Alphalete, it was actually Christian said it to me, he was like, you have to start a YouTube channel, that's just the end of the story. And I was so, when I look back now, I'm so happy he said that to me, because 1 month in, I absolutely loved creating content and I never looked back. So my advice to you, I'm going to be your Christian today, I'm going to tell you just do it. Yeah. Start.
Yeah. Also, if you're watching this video now, then the September Alphalete launch is live. I do have one of the outfits on me right now. I have the Revival t-shirt and the new Aero leggings on me, but I never got around to doing a haul. I still might do one. I don't know if I should do one after the launch. I don't know if it makes sense, but let me know in the comment section if you still want me to review the products. I know there will be another massive launch in October, and there actually will be a launch every single month for the rest of the year, so maybe I might just wait till next month. I don't know. Let me know what you want. There are so many spiders and like different bugs around my apartment, and it's really starting to freak me and Gary out. I feel like they're like planning a takeover. Look at this guy. There's one. The guy here. There's 2 here, and honestly more come out as the day goes on. So I know you would have heard me saying in some of my previous vlogs that I really struggle seeing at night when I'm driving, and my eyesight in general was just getting worse. So I finally had to give in. The summer is over and the like longer days are gone, so it's getting darker earlier, and this gal is sick of risking her life when she's going driving at night. So I gave in, I went to Specsavers and I got glasses. So I have them here. I've had them now for just under 2 weeks and I'm still very unsure. I'm not sure how to feel about them. I know Gary likes them and my family think they suit me, but it's just really hard for me to get used to them. So this is them. I got these ones, I think they're Marc Jacobs. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I went for this kind of like cat eye look. Very unsure. You can let me know in the comment section what you think. I don't have to wear these full time. It's only for like watching TV at night, or if I'm on my laptop all day and if my eyes are getting tired, or obviously if I'm driving at night as well. So I don't have to wear them all the time, and I could just get contacts if I wanted to, but let me know if you think they suit me. I feel like a professor or like a teacher or something, but I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Okay guys, we're about to get into what this video is actually about. Tips on growing your glutes. Let me just put on my hoodie. Oh my god, the struggle of putting on a cream jumper with makeup on. I think I'm good. But yeah, as I said, this video is going to be all about tips for growing your glutes, and mainly tips for growing stubborn glutes. If you're a girl that has been training for a couple of months or a couple of years and your glutes seem to be lagging, then you have clicked on the correct video today, because I am going to be bringing you through my top tips for growing a stubborn muscle group, not just your glutes. These tips would apply to any muscle group that you feel is lagging. So I actually recorded my glute focused lower body workout yesterday, and I'm going to be incorporating some of the exercises and the clips from that workout in this video as well, just to give you an idea of some of my go-to movements for glutes and how I perform each one. My first tip when training stubborn glutes is to not forget or neglect activation exercises. So I'm going to put some activation exercises on the screen for you now, ones that I would do. It's mainly just banded work before you train. So there's obviously a couple of reasons as to why you would activate the muscle group before you train it. The main one being to prevent injury. Of course, you're not going to go straight into a working set or a super heavy set of a compound before warming up your muscle groups and your joints. Another thing that's really important when you are doing your activation exercises is to really practice your mind-muscle connection. I have said this time and time again, but if you master mind-muscle connection with a stubborn muscle group, then I can guarantee you it will not be a lagging muscle group for long, because if you can connect with the muscle and focus on moving the weight with just the muscle intended, it will make a massive difference to your results. So mind-muscle connection isn't an easy thing to do. It took me years, and majority of people it does take years and a lot of practice to actually really get to that part of your brain in each session where you can fully focus on the muscle group that you're trying to work. So don't beat yourself up if you've started in the gym and there are lots of movements that you can't connect with yet, because as a beginner you can't expect to go in and connect with every muscle group individually from the start. It's something that you build up over time, and it's something that you should be practicing in every single session. So that's why activation is so important when it comes to growing stubborn glutes. You need to be thinking about the muscle group, you need to be picturing it in your head, and you need to be really feeling it before you even start your training session. My second tip for growing stubborn glutes is finding the correct frequency. So what I mean by frequency is training them the correct amount of times per week. So I remember when I started in the gym, I used to train 7 days a week. Sometimes I would even go twice a day, and I just couldn't understand why I wasn't seeing the results I wanted, when I thought I'm literally doing everything I can, I'm training my ass off, and I'm still not seeing change. And that is because I was obviously overtraining and I wasn't giving myself enough time to recover. And that goes for any muscle group, that is not just for your glutes. As soon as I started peeling back my training sessions, I was hitting glutes twice a week, and I was getting way better results than I ever was when I was hitting them 3-4 times a week. I don't care what anybody says, if you're able to train glutes 3 or more times per week, and if you're able to recover from that as a natural female, then you are not training hard enough when you're there. There's absolutely no need to be training any muscle group that many times per week as a natural girl. You need to spend less time worrying about the amount of times you're training glutes and spend more time working on the actual quality and intensity of your sessions. At my maximum push, I could train glutes 3 times per week, and the third time being like at the end of a session, like just barely hitting them at the end of a session, because you need to be going at an intensity where you physically can't go any further than that. You need to be in a calorie surplus, you need to have a proper training routine, and you really need to focus on the intensity and the progressive overload in each one of your sessions. As soon as you peel things back and focus on the basics, then you will reap the rewards of a proper training and diet plan. My next tip for growing stubborn glutes is having an exercise selection that suits you. So what I mean when I say exercise selection is picking exercises that you can engage with and connect with, and that you really feel a burn with. We are all very biomechanically different. There are some movements that I would do and really connect well with that other girls can't feel at all. For example, something like a barbell squat. Some people can't feel it in their glutes at all. For me, a barbell squat comes quite easily. I have good mobility in my ankles, knees and hips, but that's not the same for every other gal. I could find a tall girl or I could find a short girl that just doesn't connect as well with a barbell squat. And that doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. I understand for a beginner, if you're trying to connect with new movements, you need to give it a little bit of time. But if you're training a couple of months and if you're doing movements that you still can't connect with, then that's okay. There are plenty of other movements out there for you that you can try and connect much better with. This sort of ties in with the mind-muscle connection point that I made at the start. The exercises in your routine should be exercises that you can connect with, that you can really feel a burn with. For example, these movements for me would definitely be a hip thrust. I'm going to have the hip thrust machine on the screen now for you, the one that's in my gym. And when I use this machine and when I practice mind-muscle connection, I get this strongest and worst burn in my glutes ever. So this is a movement that I have in every single lower body routine for me if I'm trying to grow my glutes. Another movement that I connect really well with for my glutes are glute kickbacks. I know a lot of girls though that do glute kickbacks and can't feel it one bit in their glutes. They can only feel it in their hamstrings or in random other places. So that's a prime example of knowing that that movement isn't for you and that there are plenty of other movements out there that you can try instead. Another tip for growing stubborn glutes is giving it time. I literally cannot cannot emphasize this enough. As I said earlier, for us girls, it is not easy to grow new muscle tissue. It takes patience, it takes hard work, it takes good nutrition, good sleep, and a lot of other factors to actually build new tissue on most girls, because we don't have many hormones to support new muscle growth. So if you're a couple of weeks into your new training plan, or even a couple of months, and you're only seeing minor differences, then minor differences are better than no difference. You need to be patient with yourself. You need to take progress pictures, because often enough you feel like you're making no progress. Then you look back on a picture from like 7 or 8 weeks ago and you realize you actually have made progress. Building a stronger physique shouldn't be a race. It's more of a lifestyle that you should adapt to and really enjoy. It's not something that just happens overnight, especially with building new tissue. Fair enough, with fat loss, you could go on like a 6-week aggressive cut and look completely different in 6 weeks. Whereas when it comes to growing a muscle group, that takes time and consistency, and it's a long-term thing. So don't feel so rushed to get amazing results. It doesn't work like that. So give it time, be patient, and keep going. And one more tips for training stubborn glutes is to perfect your exercise execution. So you could have the best program in the world, you could be nailing your diet plan, you could be sleeping well, and you're still not getting results because you are not executing your exercises correctly. You need to have a proper setup, and you need to know what you're doing when it comes to setting up your exercises at the gym. There are so many informative videos on YouTube, like the one you're watching right now, where you can learn how to set up different exercises such as squats. Hip thrusts is a huge one that loads of girls get confused with when it comes to setting it up. You can ask a PT at your gym, that is their job. You can look things up on YouTube, you can do your own research, but make sure you are executing your exercises correctly, because if you're not, you could end up working other muscle groups instead of your glutes. For example, with a hip thrust, you could end up using more of your hamstrings or your quads if you're not set up correctly. So moral of the story, make sure to get your form on fleek before you start adding more weight to the bar. So those are my main tips for training stubborn glutes. As I said, these tips can apply to any other muscle group. It doesn't have to just be your glutes. I am having a weekly sale on my programs at the moment, so normally I only do quarterly or monthly payment plans for my programs, but I know there are a lot of students that are just gone back to college, and sometimes you can't afford paying a monthly or quarterly subscription. So right now at the moment I am having a weekly sale on my plan where you can pay things off each week instead. I feel like this will suit a lot of more students, so I'm going to leave that as the first link in the description box. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I hope you learned something new. If you do have any questions or things you'd like to discuss, then just leave them in the comment section below and I will be active there later. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.